We are now leaving the Senegal port of Dakar for a quick tour of Gorée Island. Gorée is connected to the mainland by a regular 30-minute ferry service for pedestrians only. There are no cars on the island. The passengers in this ferry are either traders or tourists. The traders are aggressive and you have to promise to visit their stalls on the island for them to leave you alone. Gorée is a small island, 900 meters in length and 350 meters in width, sheltered by the Cap-Vert Peninsula. Now part of the city of Dakar, it was a minor port and site of European settlement along the coast. And being almost devoid of drinking water, the island was not settled before the arrival of Europeans. The Portuguese were the first to establish a presence on Gorée around 1450 AD, where they built a small stone chapel and used land as a cemetery. After the French invasion in 1677, during the French-Dutch War, the area remained chiefly French until 1960. They say there's no crime on the island, but they're not taking chances. This house of slaves and its door of no return is a museum in memorial to the Atlantic slave trade on Gorée Island.
In Gorée, the house built in the streets was a slave house. And here in Gorée, we have 28 slave houses. But we have one open for the public.
Following its construction in 1776, the House of Slaves became a holding center for enslaved African people to be exported. The house was owned by an Afro-French woman called Anna Colas Pepin, who owned several ships and participated in the slave trade. Conditions in the building were harrowing, with many of the imprisoned perishing before they reached the ships. Captured enslaved people were imprisoned in dark, airless cells and spent days shackled to the floor, their backs against the walls, unable to move. Families were separated both at the house, with men, women, children being held in separate quarters, as well as after boarding the ships, since most of them were not sent to the same locations. Young girls in particular were held separately from the rest of the imprisoned, being paraded in the courtyard so that the traders and enslavers could choose them for sex. If they became pregnant, they were allowed to remain on their island until they gave birth. Converted into a museum and a memorial in 1962, the House of Slaves now stands as a testament to the human suffering and devastation caused by the slave trade. As the Senegal's premier tourist site, the island was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1978. It now serves mostly as a memorial to the slave trade. Many of the historic commercial and residential buildings have now been turned into restaurants and hotels to support the tourist traffic. Famous war leaders who have toured the House of Slaves during their state visits to Senegal are Pope John Paul II, President George W. Bush, Nelson Mandela, and Barack Obama. Mandela was reported to have stepped away from a tour where he sat alone in a basement cell for 5 minutes, silently reflecting on his visit in 1987. After visiting the House of Slaves, the Pope asked God's forgiveness for the pain inflicted on African nations and citizens and recognized the role of Christians in the slave trade. There are a lot of talented artists on the island, so next time you visit Gorée, kindly support the micro-entrepreneurs by taking home some art.
You can take photos, take a picture, no problem.
Sand. So we have white sand from Alm Beach in Dakar, sand from Sahel Gold, sand from Dour of Nyai near the Pink Lake, sand from Padua in Dakar, sand the desert, and we have a black sand come from volcano near the Echo in Dakar. Now we have 24 different colors, all natural, but mixed like sand to give you another color.